Alrighty boys and boyettes, it's 2020, let's get with the times. Welcome back once again to another video. How you guys doing? Guys, today it's your boy back at it again with another video at 5 a.m. Today we're going to be checking out the new vacuum tube bow and arrow bow in Fortnite Save the World. This of course is the newest bow and arrow to come to the game. Yet another bow and arrow, like back to back to back. It's kind of getting old at this point. If you guys do want to pick this weapon up, you can actually get it through the final Frostnite challenge, which you had to actually play at 1 a.m. Eastern time, which is why this video is being made so early in the morning. I took a 3-hour nap, woke up around midnight, and decided to play through, test this weapon out for a few hours, and here we are with this video. Your boy is on a little bit of a lack of sleep at the moment, but I'm here with a good video nonetheless. But yeah guys, of course in today's video we're going to be going over the new vacuum tube bow, going to be going over some perks, hero loadout, showcasing the damage numbers and the usability of this weapon, and all in all really how it stacks up against the other bows that have been added to the game. Now before we do jump into it, just a quick shout out to my man Khan over at Twitter for using my code at gfuel.com. I appreciate the support, picking up a little bit of that Bahama Mama, my personal favorite flavor. You are a legend. Thank you for supporting the content. But yeah guys, let's jump into the video and let's kick things off with the perks. But that's a little bit of a lie because I want to look at something a little bit more important. I want you guys to take a look at the base damage of this weapon once you level it up. 69,420. Definitely gotta say that is the most spicy number I've seen in a long time. Aside from that, taking a look at the perks, we have a double crit damage, double crit rating, as you want to have very high crit rating on slow firing weapons like these. Crit damage is the best type of damage you can get in the game. Very spicy. Also, the actual base crit hit damage is 75% instead of 50, so a little bonus there. And the weapon is vacuum tube, so it is locked to nature. It actually comes with a pretty unique final perk, which says eliminating an enemy with this causes chain lightning to strike up to 6 enemies and can occur every 4 seconds. So a pretty unique perk right there. Turns this into a lightning bow, definitely reminiscent of like the Founders Revolt and the Cyberclops. We'll go into more details about this perk in a little bit, but you guys can see gameplay of it in the background, of course. Moving on to the damage numbers that you'll be able to push with this weapon at its absolute best. You're going to be looking around 1.9 to 2.1 million damage. That is, of course, using a very specific hero loadout tailored to this weapon, using wafers, totally rocking out, and being in a squad of 130s to 131s. Of course, this isn't applicable to most scenarios. You're not going to be hitting consistent 1.9s all the time, you know. It's going to vary depending on, you know, the people in your game and your hero loadouts and perks and stuff. But if you guys were curious on what you can push with this weapon single target wise, 1.9 million is a pretty good average right there. Now moving on to the hero loadout that I use whenever I was using this weapon, we have the Rabbit Raider Jonesy for crit damage, totally rocking out for the crit rating, can never have enough, battle beat and sub wafers to support that team perk, quick scope for the sniper damage, locked and reloaded for the damage after a reload, and unearthly treat. If we just so happen to get low health, we just so happen to get some bonus damage to mini bosses. Now let's go ahead and talk about the vacuum tube bow. I want to go ahead and get my opinions out there really quick. The vacuum tube bow is not great. That's how I feel about it. It's yet another bow that Epic Games has added to the game that they just seemingly just threw in there without really thinking too much about it. I'm going to put some smasher tests up on the screen, and the smasher tests are actually pretty decent. This weapon does, you know, actually do some pretty good damage, I would say. In a solo game, you're going to be hitting around 1 million, so it only takes a couple arrows, you know, to a 140 smasher. And, you know, you are really looking at some pretty decent damage here, but just like any of the other bow and arrows in the game, you're really suffering from a lot of, oh, I wish this was the boom bow's drawback, I wish this was the boom bow's range, I wish this had, you know, the AoE of a boom bow and stuff like that. Just like all of the other bow and arrows, the vacuum tube bow, you are going to be finding yourself saying that exact same thing, just like every other bow. I wish it was the boom bow. And a friend of mine named Moonlight brought this up as a great point. If the boom bow was researchable and you could get it in the collection book, if you could take the boom bow, take it out of the collection book, and make every single one of them element specific, these new bow and arrows that are in the game, they wouldn't really need to exist. Aside from the compression burster, that thing is an absolute impact machine. But aside from that, if the boom bow was researchable, all of these bows would definitely be obsolete. The vacuum tube bow doesn't really bring anything to the table to make you go, wow, that weapon's actually pretty insane. It's got some really cool, you know, things to it. It's got a really cool final perk that, you know, if it were changed just a little bit, it could be very, very good in my opinion. It could definitely be something that could be revered and something that that could overall be a positive impact for the weapon, but all in all, it just falls short. Taking another look at the 6 perk, it actually says eliminating an enemy with this weapon will cause chain lightning to strike up to 6 enemies, and it can occur every 4 seconds. This is a really cool perk. However, whenever you are in a 140 and you are with like a full squad using this thing, if you shoot a 140 basic husk and the other basic husks around that husk get shocked by this lightning, they won't even go to 50% damage. Keep in mind that this can only occur every 4 seconds, so not every single shot is going to be doing this chain lightning. So you're going to be able to get some lightning off, but you're not even going to be able to do 50% damage to a basic husk whenever it hits them. So the AoE potential of this bow is kind of right out the window. You got something that looks cool and can hit a lot of enemies at the same time, but does next to no damage. So for me personally, to make this bow better, there's a lot of different things they could do. For one, I feel as though the range can be increased. I'm really getting sick of these bows not having long range like the boom bow. The drawback speed, I believe that this bow right here could have been a great example of a good drawback and a good ranged bow similar to the boom bow, while the other ones have that, you know, overarching arc and have a longer pullback time for extra damage. I feel as though this could have been that breakout bow where you still need precision, but you can also get AoE out of it. If they would have made this bow have more range and a better drawback speed and allow you to actually hit enemies with this chain lightning, for one, have it happen every 2 seconds, for example, maybe 3 seconds, maybe 2 seconds is too much, maybe 3 seconds, so like every other arrow you get chain lightning. That would be fantastic, and if they up the damage, it would be great. It would reward you for being a good precision shot and allow you to actually hit other enemies around your initial target, so you feel as though you're not, you know, wasting your arrows by shooting at actual regular enemies. Because stuff like the Night Owl, if you're not shooting a blaster, if you're not shooting a taker, and if you're not shooting a smasher, you're wasting your shot. There's no reason to hit anything else. With this weapon right here, had it been a little bit different, you know, the chain lightning could happen every other arrow, have it do a little bit more damage, it would actually reward you for hitting those, you know, smaller health enemies and allow you to do more damage over time and kill a bunch of enemies, you know, while you're at it. And I think that would have been, you know, some great potential to actually put a vacuum tube weapon in the limelight, but yet again, Epic Games falls short by making it to where they don't want to even touch the boom bow. Like, none of the bows that have come out can really touch the boom bow whenever it comes to DPS and, you know, just regular, you know, AoE and damage and stuff. They're not really that great whenever it comes to this, and the vacuum tube is honestly no different. If we take a look at the actual stats between these weapons, the vacuum tube bow is going to have better damage and better headshot damage, while the range, drawback speed, and the impact is going to be lower. The headshot damage, the headshot multiplier on the vacuum tube bow is actually really good. It really does reward your headshot. Now, the problem with this is that people already, like myself, find it annoying to go for headshots in this game. Going for headshots with a bow and arrow is even worse. So you're not really going to be hitting on that headshot multiplier all that often, especially on small-headed enemies like smashers where it counts. And you know, the boom bow, it's barely behind in damage. It's definitely behind in headshot damage, but you know, with a bow that doesn't matter as much. And the boom bow just has more AoE potential. You can fire it faster, you can fire it from a longer range. It's just all in all going to be, yet again, just a better bow to what we're talking about here. So the vacuum tube bow, just like the other ones, it's okay. I genuinely do think, though, I think it's better than the Seeker in my opinion. At least me personally, I enjoyed it more than the Seeker. The Seeker, it can do really good damage. It's a great bow. It does crazy damage, but the main appeal to the Seeker is that it has the 2 extra arrows that will seek out enemies, and the problem with that is that those 2 arrows that seek out enemies do an absolute terrible job of doing so. Even though the chain lightning doesn't do that great of damage, it's still extremely reliable in the sense that you can get the chain lightning, you can hit the 6 enemies, and even though the damage isn't that great, you're at least getting what the bow can do. The VenderTech Seeker, if it were to work properly, would definitely be the better of the bows. However, the vacuum tube bow, I gotta say, I just gotta give it the edge. It does what it's supposed to. It's got the double crit rating, double crit damage. It is locked to nature. It encourages you to use it in water storms, but at the same time, you can't really use it in other missions. I don't know. Vacuum tube bow, it's kind of a mess, and all in all, it's just another forgettable bow. So if you guys don't have a lot of perk up, I definitely wouldn't recommend leveling this up. I definitely do recommend getting it though, because they may buff it in the future. Epic Games is known to make buffs to things, and you know, maybe take a second look at them from time to time, although not that often. It definitely could happen. happen, and bows like these, seeing as they've had such a long streak of just boring weapons, perhaps they will go back and they will change it and make it a little bit interesting in the future, because I do believe the vacuum tube bow could be something great. They really just got to work on that final perk and maybe some of that drawback in that range. But guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below about the vacuum tube bow. I just genuinely think it's yet another disappointment. Nothing too special, something that could be great if properly buffed, but all in all, I don't really see it happening, and I don't really see myself ever using this weapon again. Don't use your perk up on it if you're not somebody that collects perked up weapons, and that's pretty much it for the review. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly do appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below, and make sure to subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this almost every single day, or every other like 3 days essentially at this point. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time.